You are listening to These Are The Films, Episode 7, and this time we're going to be talking about The Truman Show. Hi everyone, and welcome to These Are The Films. It's a fortnightly podcast where we pick a film and we have a natter about it. My name's Jim, and I'm here with my co-worker, Crispin.
Yes, thank you very much, Jim. To explain a little bit more, it works like a book club. We pick a film, and we'll tell you what the film we've picked is at the end of the show. You watch that film, we watch that film, come back in 2 weeks, talk about it some more. Spoilers? There will be spoilers.
Big time spoilers. Tell us about it on Twitter at These Are The Films, TATF podcast, Facebook.com/These Are The Films, show at TheseAreTheFilms.com is our email, and obviously as a result our website is TheseAreTheFilms.com.
That's quite right.
Okay, shall we talk about the movie then?
Let's do that.
Great. So last week I picked The Truman Show in a bit of a rush. And
last night I watched it in a bit of a rush.
I think I could have probably have just done the podcast without watching it.
Yeah, but that's not the point, is it, Jim? That's
I
not
know.
the point.
I know it's not the point.
You
But
you can't be in a book club and say I've read it.
Yeah, no. But my point is, I have seen it a lot. I've watched it a lot. It's just one of those films that is, I mean, I wouldn't say it's my favourite film or in the top 10 or anything, but it's cropped up a lot. I guess it's been on the telly a lot or something. I don't know.
Like one of those films that even if you've got the DVD of it, and it comes,
I'll watch it on the telly. Yeah, even with the adverts and everything. Yeah. I think it's really good. I really enjoyed it, and I watched it again this week with passing a more critical eye over it, and yeah, I've still come away thinking it's a good movie. So, what do you think?
Yeah, Grant, do you think you watch films differently now that we're doing this podcast then?
Yes, definitely. And the number of
this.
I tell you what, just in the last 2 months since we've been doing it, the number of films that I have just turned off after half an hour has increased dramatically.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, definitely. And I can't be bothered to. I'm not giving them a shot, you know.
God, you know the thing is,
Avengers: Age in Ultron was just gone. Half an hour. I was thinking, I'm not even watching it. You know, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I don't know what was the one we were talking about the other day. I sat down to feed my baby, and you're stuck. There's nothing you can do when you're feeding your baby. So I stuck a film on Netflix, and it was. It had a blue shiny man in it.
With his blue shining dong.
Yeah, who was...
Watchmen.
What was that? Watchmen. And yeah, no. Off. No, just...
I like Watchmen. I think it's good.
Fine. I didn't. But it's still around a Truman Show.
Yeah, yes, yeah, quite right. Now, hold on, one more thing. Like, when you're saying like half an hour into a film, that's pretty much my... that's the river card going down. That's me, half an hour in. I'm going to watch the whole thing. Yeah,
I think half an hour is just a. I don't think I mean half an hour. I mean like an arbitrary time.
Okay.
That half an hour is a sort of throwaway remark. I think you'll probably.
I apologise for picking you up on it.
That's fine.
Let's talk about the Truman Show.
Okay. Half an hour into this, and I definitely watched it to the end. So yeah, do you like it?
Yes. Yeah.
Are you glad I picked it?
I do like it. I did it. My absolute favourite thing about it was everyone in the in the film studio and their mega 90s clothes.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. This is not. Was it 1999?
Yeah.
It's 1999, but they're dressing like it's like 1993 or something with like great big square patchwork leather jackets and stuff.
I almost think that it was meant to be maybe a little bit futuristic or something, but like a sort of 90s idea of what people would wear in the future. But yeah, I was definitely thinking about getting like a beret and wearing it backwards and getting some little round glasses.
That's the thing, isn't it? That's the icon of the film. Is his what do you call it? That is it a beret?
I guess it's
Like
a flat cap. It's like a
Kangol
Kangol,
hat,
isn't it?
Yeah. Put that
Which
on
is just a
backwards.
flat cap, but black instead of tartan. I mean, people in Yorkshire have been wearing them for hundreds of years without it ever being cool. Samuel L. Jackson puts one on backwards, and suddenly everyone goes crazy.
Did he start that? Was that his thing?
I don't know. He certainly does it a lot. I always forget that actually he's an old age pensioner wearing a Kangol backwards.
Yeah.
And there's nothing very cool
just
about
like Ed Harris is in this film.
yeah, well, quite, yeah. Ed Harris is great in it, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant.
Well, Ed Harris is well good. He's been in some dodgy films, or he's in The Rock, isn't he? Is he in The Rock? Isn't he the bad in The Rock?
Yeah. Ed Harris is great. I mean, he's just he's a safe pair of hands because it was originally Dennis Hopper.
Was it?
Yeah, and he was fired.
Was it?
They were filming
a loony.
I guess so.
Oh, right. That kind of makes a bit of sense, actually, because now you look at his clothes, you can see Dennis Hopper wearing that.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think you're probably
They
right.
already bought the clothes, and they were like, "Oh, sack Dennis. We'll get Ed in, same sort of size. We don't have to buy any new wardrobe."
Yeah.
Then maybe that's why it's also really awkward in the big jacket and stuff. Then.
They were so far into the film. Jim Carrey had rapped before Ed Harris even joined the movie.
No way.
Yeah, isn't that incredible? Because they're never in the same.
Yeah.
You never have them in the same scene, which is clever. Yeah, we like that. Yeah, he's. I thought it was great. Again, there's that naming thing, isn't there? Christoph. Oh right, yeah. So the God figure. Yeah, it's called Christ. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. But by the same token, I think there's an element of doing that on purpose and maybe slightly sending up the whole Christ figure in literature, in movies as a trope thing. You see it so often. So I think, and with his disembodied voice at the end coming out of the clouds, and
yeah, I mean, well, that's it. You're right. Lots of things are overdone in the film.
Yeah,
but nicely overdone.
Yeah,
like the whole 50s town.
I think it looks wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what I like about it is it's not a set; it's a real place.
Is it?
Yeah, it's called Seaside, and it's in Florida, and you're not allowed to build there.
Remember, we're on video as well, Jim, so we can't watch you looking at your phone.
Well, what I'm doing is it just buzzed, so because I forgot to put it on. Letting people in.
I'm going to put mine on thing as well
because that's naughty, and we shouldn't do that. As we get more comfortable into doing this, I'm starting to do things like forget to turn off my phone. So that's why I was doing that.
And just abandon all professionalism and just start.
Indeed, I haven't abandoned all professionalism
because I trousers on.
I haven't got any trousers, but I am wearing a top. For those of you who are listening and aren't aware that we also share this on YouTube, we have a YouTube channel, These.Are.The.Films. So as a result, and also because you can listen to this at any point, at any time, you may not be aware of the fact that it is stiflingly hot in the UK today. And I know that there's probably people listening to this in various far-flung places in the world that think that 29 degrees centigrade is not hot, but when combined with 90-odd% humidity, it makes for a foul environment. And
we just can't handle it.
Yeah, and anyone who's not...
like once or twice a year. We're just not prepared for it. It's like when it snows and all the buses crash.
Quite, yeah, absolutely. And anyone who's not Winnie the Pooh in it or Donald Duck in it on a day like today is an absolute lunatic.
Yeah. My boys picked that up. I'm Donald Duck in it, Dad.
Oh, it's brilliant.
Come here, put some trousers on. No, I'm going to go to nursery Donald Duck in. No, you're not,
no, you're not. Definitely not. Because when kids Donald Duck in it, I'm wearing pants, like,
You're not, yeah, not full Donald Duck.
No, I'm not doing a full Winnie the Pooh.
I'm not going to ask you to prove it.
No, I won't.
Just take your word.
Yeah,
Your
but
word
yeah,
is good.
yeah, indeed. And speaking of humid places, yeah, Seaside is in Florida, and they have all these like local ordinances, and you're not allowed to build a house unless you put a white picket fence around it and things like that. So
Right.
it's the resort, and the resort it's like a resort, and it's purpose built like that. It was built to look like that. It hasn't.
Oh, right. So it wasn't like built in the 50s and then someone
No,
put it in a massive Tupperware.
no, but it was built to make it look like it's from that era. Or, well, no, it wasn't even built to look like it's from that era. It was built to look like an idea of what things look like in that era. Because that's not really what things look like, I don't think. Maybe. I mean, in my head, everything's a lot more dirty and the air is barely breathable in the 50s, no matter where you are in the world.
And everybody stank.
Yeah.
Well,
everyone's just burning coal constantly.
Well, that fits in though, doesn't it? Because the whole thing is about Christoph's ideal. Christoph's idea of utopia is this,
and that's kind of the sort of American idea of, small town America. The picket fence, and that's a cliche of what a truly not perfect life. Not in terms of an exciting, adventurous life, but a truly contented and happy life is, a nice family, picket fence, all of that, and it's very much the same as Edward Scissorhands, the street Edward Scissorhands, except that's got the juxtaposition of the sort of gothic, almost castle-like house at the end where Edward Scissorhands lives, and then all the lovely houses running up to it. I think it's a great-looking film. I really like that whole aspect of it. This idea of a perfect America. When everyone had jobs. Obviously, everyone knows that idea of a perfect America was only a perfect America for white people.
Yeah, white people, make-believe white people in the 50s is basically what it is. And I think that's an important thing, that they send that up really well, that this is, so Christoph's idea of utopia is not what Truman's is.
No.
But he's imposed that on him, and he has to exist there. And Christoph, like, when you get to the end, he's not really, he doesn't think that Truman's going to leave.
No.
He thinks that
because he's created this ideal place. Yeah. And it's the same argument that people have with zoos and stuff, that their life is better in the life of a tiger is a tiger's a bad example. The life of a zebra is better in a zoo, because at least they're not freaking out because lions are trying to eat them all the time. I think eaten alive is, if you're a large mammal in the wild, then there's only one end for you, and that is to be eaten alive from the back end to the front end. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it, because even if you get a bit poorly, you're not going to die of that disease. You're going to run slower, and something's going to eat you alive from the back end to the front end, so that you're really aware of it. I would imagine so, because they never start ahead, do they? So you're aware of it all the way up. So but and that's sort of the question of the whole. I mean, that's really the fundamental thing of the whole film, isn't it? What's better, a possible life of misery and danger and all of the things which we all have to live with that are terrifying, or his wrapped in cotton life that how can you possibly excel in that environment? Are you just going to stagnate, and his choice at the end is that, and Christoph can't believe that he's making that choice, and I don't know, I guess for the watcher, and it's obvious what the choice is going to be.
Yeah, because everyone's rooting for it.
Yeah,
everybody's rooting for the choice. You are joining in with the people, with the people watching it. One thing I wanted to bring up at this point as well is the that idea of utopia is also is also quite obvious digs at religion and the media.
Yeah.
In that, though we live in these safe environments, that when we get to the edge, we're us as Truman, we get to the edge. Do we go through the door?
Yeah.
Do we abandon religion?
And we're pushing, and there are so many organisations and powerful people around us who are trying to stop us from pushing, and we're always pushing. Yeah, I do think that's interesting, and that idea of that we all have, society and governments and media moguls and the powerful and the 1% and all of that lot. They make us just comfortable enough that we don't risk it, and that's how we are controlled. And I don't necessarily think that, I don't want to get too tinfoil hat about the whole thing, because I don't think people really mean controlling us, but just to make it so that the status quo remains the status quo. You keep everyone just comfortable enough that it's just too much to risk.
And also to a large extent, we're all to a massive extent, we're all completely complicit in that as well.
Yeah,
we let the media control us, and determine what we think and what we watch, and the way that we watch things, in the same way that we watch a film.
We're a movie podcast.
But there's that suspension of disbelief. We're being absorbed in this story, but we let ourselves do that constantly throughout our lives. In particular, that I think this film's referencing is that through media and religion. And media, I think, really the big one. I think the religion thing is very subtle to the point of maybe it's not even intended.
In the UK and Europe, I mean, we don't really have any. I think it's a rare person in the UK these days who has even experienced that kind of. I think maybe for our parents, then yes, religion would probably have played a bigger influence in their lives. But for me, as someone turning 40 this year, religion has played almost no influential part in my life in terms of controlling it or having any influence.
Yeah, but I think me either. But I think that's the way we've brought up. I think there's still. I think
in the States, I think it's a lot more profound. And especially I saw a graph the other day that had GDP per capita on one axis and how much people believe in religion. I forget how they measure how many people. I guess they went and asked a bunch of people, and people who said, yeah, I'm dead into it, they were like, right, tick. Or people were like, nah, I think it's a load of old rubbish. Cross. But yeah, and it's linear, poor countries, everyone's dead into religion, and much more developed countries, people weren't into it. And then there's just the two outliers is no, it wasn't GDP per capita, it was household income. And the two outliers were China, which has got almost no religion at all, but it's also got a very low household income. And then America, which has got one of the highest household incomes, like second or third or something, but fantastically high religion. 60% of people are religious or something. And Germany and the UK, you're talking about 10% of people or something. So yeah, it just doesn't seem to have the influence. But in America, obviously, where this film is made and where this film is talking about is set, religion has a much more profound influence on people. And so yeah, I think it is an allegory for that. Yes.
Okay.
We got really stuck into the heavy stuff, didn't we?
Yeah. To be honest, I agree with you, but I think that the media thing, I think I find more interesting because. Yes. But I mean, because it's much more obvious, and really, they're sending up themselves, because it is the Hollywood part of the media industry is possibly the most prolific in that in that sort of chain of influence.
Yeah.
the regarding of celebrity status and
just a huge amount. It's such a huge industry with so much money in it and so many. But I mean, movies are ubiquitous. Who doesn't watch movies? Who doesn't like movies? Everyone watches movies. So yeah, they're massively influential, and have been involved in so much propaganda from war movies prior to the Vietnam War, when people actually started to make war movies that questioned war. Up until that, it was all propaganda. And then Cold War movies, you're watching James Bond films and they're all about how horrible Russia is and all of that sort of thing. And the propaganda is palpable, in film. So yeah, he's definitely sending up his own industry as well, which is really good. Yeah, so I think that Peter Weir is brilliant. I mean, I got into this movie again. I think that in 1998 when I watched it, I was just kind of, I didn't used to know who the director of films was and stuff. I just watched it and thought it was a good movie. So that's what I love about doing this podcast, because I didn't really know very much about the movie until we did it. And looking back on his films, have you seen Gallipoli?
No, I don't think so.
Mel Gibson, about the Anzacs and the occupation of Gallipoli. It's one of Peter Weir's earlier movies. It's an 80s. It was like Mel Gibson's first starring role. He's a kid in it, he's 20 or something. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. It's horrible. I mean, I won't spoiler it for you, but the Anzacs trying to take Gallipoli in the First World War was an awful massacre. His film about it is just absolutely fantastic. I watched it when I was a kid, and I absolutely it was another one of those, and my dad said, "This film's really good, you should watch it." And I watched it, and then couldn't sleep for like weeks afterwards. It was awful. But yeah, it's an extremely good movie, and he made Dead Poets Society as well, which is just brilliant. Which you dropped the bombshell that you haven't.
I haven't seen Dead Poets Society.
That's extraordinary. I mean, I don't know how you missed it. It was huge.
Yeah. And this is it. Some things just miss you by, don't they? And then once they've gone,
yeah.
But there are things that there'll be a massive, and then once they're gone, they're gone. Or there'll be something that is so massive, and you haven't got involved for so long, that then it becomes a stubborn point.
Well, quite. I mean, I've never seen Titanic or Ghost.
I haven't seen Titanic or Independence Day.
Have you not seen Independence Day?
No.
Wow. What to say about Independence Day, really? I mean, I don't think I can recommend it, really, to be honest. I really don't think I can.
That was my suspicion.
I think if you watched it that week, you might have quite liked the special effects. But it's an old movie now, and who cares? Plus, you've seen the good bit. He blows up the White House. You've seen that bit. It's good.
Yeah, is that in the trailer?
Yeah. Trailer's the best bit. Every trailer's got all the best bits in it. So don't worry about it. There's a second one out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm not going to watch that either.
No, I don't think I'll bother watching that.
I mean, well, I can't, obviously, can I? Because, I'll have missed all the intense character development from the first film.
You're not going to be able to pick it up. Yeah, so turns out Peter Weir's brilliant. I love him. I think he's made some really good films. And Andrew Niccol wrote it, who also wrote Gattaca, which he wrote before
I like
this.
That film. That's a good one.
Yeah, and it's a similar thing, thinking about it, dystopias and all that seems to be his thing, because he also wrote In Time, that Justin Timberlake thing, which got absolutely slated. And I thought it was fun. I mean, I didn't think it was as bad as everyone said. I thought it was, if you'd have paid to go to cinema to see it, you'd have been a bit like, oh, God, really? But, if you're watching it free and it's on the telly, then it's fine. It's a half decent romp. The whole basic premise of it is there's no money anymore. It's all time, and if you run out of time, you die. So you get paid in time. So you can be immortal if you're rich, and you don't live very long if you're poor, and how you hustle around that. So
that sounds interesting.
Yeah, I suppose it's vaguely interesting. I mean, I think probably it would be more interesting if you were like at university and you smoked a lot of weed. If you're 40, you're a bit, all right, nice one.
But I feel like you're recommending it to me.
Well, I'm not really recommending it to anyone, because I'd hate for anyone to come back and say, I can't believe you said that movie wasn't terrible, because it's terrible. Because most people think it's terrible.
Is there any singing and dancing in it?
No, but there's a lot of sort of
Justin Timberlake jumping up on the sideboard.
doing his doing his moves. That one with the knees
through the kitchen.
He teams up with Amanda Seyfried, and they do some Bonnie and Clyde type stuff. It's
robbing some time.
Yeah, exactly. It's an enjoyable enough romp, but I certainly don't think it has the depths of I don't know, Brave New World or anything. Yeah, what a Truman Show. Yeah, absolutely. So we'll just do the budget quickly, because I can understand this one as well. Cost $60 million. Woof. 1998. At the time, Jim Carrey was charging $20 million per film, and he read the script for this and decided to do it for 12. So he took a pay cut to do it. Still, I mean, my heart bleeds. 12 million.
Well, he took an $8 million pay cut. Still got 12 million.
Still got 12 million.
Who else was going to give you something that wasn't Pet Detective 3?
Yeah, well, quite. Which is obviously why he wanted to take it. I mean, I think it was probably he thought this will be good for my career,
Yeah.
So, and definitely,
well, it was. That's it. It paved the way to so many other more straight roles that he's done.
Yeah, I mean, he was brilliant in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. I thought that was a great movie. And I like that sort of, it's sci-fi but on a very sort of small scale, just this one idea, but it's still sort of set now. I thought that movie was great. Mm-hmm. But he's really good, I thought, in this, because he does his, what was it you said? Pulls silly faces. He does a bit of that. Yeah. Because some of it's improvised, like the mirror scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of those are
a really good choice for the casting, I guess. But do you know who else was in the running? I don't.
Yeah, Robin Williams, because of Peter Weir, I guess, liked Robin Williams. Because Dead Poets Society is before this, isn't it?
Yeah.
But no, he watched Ace Ventura and decided not to have Robin Williams and have Jim Carrey instead. Like, that's really surprising to me that you would watch Ace Ventura and think, oh yeah, we'll have him playing this. But it's not a serious role, is it?
No. And I suppose that, it's good that because Jim Carrey's able to carry himself inside that absurd world and it be normal for him.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably that's probably something that would be quite difficult for I guess some actors to do.
Probably not Robin Williams.
Probably not Robin Williams.
Robin Williams would probably be fine at that, because Jim Carrey is probably, I would think, quite heavily influenced by Robin Williams in terms of the manic thing and motor mouth and all of that sort of thing.
But that's it. You couldn't normally exist in the I Love Lucy 50s world, could you? Yeah. You'd have to be a bit 50s sitcom about it.
Yeah.
But without that.
Because if everyone else is being that, then it's. He says, Christoph says it himself. I think he says, we accept the reality of the world with which we are presented, and which has a lot of depth to it, I think. And he does that, and he becomes this character because of the world around him. And his character isn't very, at the start, it's almost a send-up. It isn't very realistic. But then you realise that the point of it being unrealistic is because his life around him isn't realistic, and so he's not going to be normal if everyone around him, normal for us, if everyone around him is being that way, he's going to be that way too.
Yeah, it's like the I don't know if do you remember doing this in social studies at school, where there was the kid who was brought up by chickens.
Yes.
And acted like a chicken.
Yeah.
Until he was rescued and sorted out.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah, and I think that's what and I think that's an interesting part of it as well, is that what it brings up is the idea that you can do, what we learnt from those lessons when we learned about the boy that was brought up like a chicken, is that you can't create social experiments where you lock a kid up to see whether to test nature and nurture and that sort of thing. So whenever something crops up like that, sociologists and psychologists descend on it because there's so much they can learn. And what's happening in the Truman Show, and the reason why it's a dystopia, is the Truman Show itself isn't a dystopia, but the world that we never see really outside of the Truman Show must be a dystopia because they can do this to a person.
Yeah. So
if you're in a world where you can actually sustain, and I thought one of the really interesting bits that it says is that they
spit it out.
Sorry.
Is it that he's been adopted by a corporation?
That he's the first,
right,
to be adopted by a corporation, and I think that's really interesting because he's the first. So have people done it since? First child to be legally adopted by a corporation is the wording that they use, and I think that's and that's kind of giving a hint of. But the thing is, the scenes that you see outside of the Truman Show all seem very normal.
Yeah.
The New York bar.
That's the impression, though, isn't it? It's like there is the world that's alluded to outside that is very much our world.
Yeah.
Just a little bit different, a little bit in the future, a little bit. Just to backtrack a little bit there, when you're talking about the guy who says, who brings up the guy that's interviewing him. That was a nice little idiot lecture filler, I thought. To have what's that guy's name? Is he dead? He's not. He's the guy with the pipe from Spinal Tap, isn't he?
Yeah, he does this. Doesn't he do the same job in the Hunger Games?
No, that's not him. But that's the Hunger Games guy is obviously like
playing
I'm
him.
I'm going to do that. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah, I didn't look that up. But I just thought that's interesting because that's exactly the same job. And that's exactly the same. It's the same character, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the same character. It's the same mechanism.
Yeah, and it's. I thought it was interesting where they start putting that because it's only when you actually because we have agreed before that we like world building by having the advert at the start. So there's the trailer for the Truman Show at the start, and that's like RoboCop and what was it we liked it in? Moon. And then we don't see anything outside of the world until like the midpoint, until he's we meet Christoph and we understand what the film is, and I think the only thing right up until halfway through the movie we see of the audience, we see maybe the security guards once, and all of the stuff.
No, the people in the Truman Show bar.
We see them early as well, do we?
I don't know. I can't remember.
I remember thinking, "Wow, this is really interesting." With this far in, you certainly don't see the booth. and the people working, the producers and the directors, working on it until the midpoint.
Well,
Which
I didn't notice. I didn't notice.
That's really clever, because you don't see the outside world until Truman, even though you know.
Yeah.
They then, I think, take it back, and they don't introduce other elements of it, because they're trying to get you to be convinced by this world and then allow you to be pulled out of the world at the same rate. And it's only when Truman kind of realizes what's happening, which I think is dealt with quite well, because, you know, it's so difficult for him to accept it, because, I mean, it's just so ludicrous. How could that possibly, even though the film is based on something which is older than time, the idea that we're actually, because you're only aware of what's going on in your own head, and it's almost impossible to imagine that the life and the way that I experience the world could possibly be going on in your head as well, let alone everyone, let alone when you're walking down the street and you see someone the other side of the road, let alone when you see someone in India on the television, that they've got the same thing going on as you. And that's as old as time. But so the idea that actually, no, that is what's happening, and that everyone is in on it, and it is just me, and everyone's just watching me. It's going to be so hard for him to accept that, isn't it?
Well, yeah, because when you doubt yourself first, though, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course.
Because in the real world, when, you know, if you write that down on paper, okay, so that everything is about me, and everyone is following me against me. Oh, hang on a minute, I need to go to the doctors.
Yeah. I mean, I've known you 30 years, but if I started to get convinced that that was a thing, I think that I would be conscious of the fact that if I said it to you, you would say, yeah, let's go to the doctors, mate. Let's go and say hello to... Let's get the men in the white coats. The coat with the extra long sleeves. But yeah, I think it's... I think that's really clever, the way that once Truman becomes aware of what's going on,
once that reality starts to fall apart, we get to see more of the other reality.
Yeah, particularly the booth, and then we start... Oh, sorry, you know, the production.
Oh, right. Okay,
booth,
I understand. Yeah.
And then you start to see more and more of the audience, and
who's your favourite in the audience?
Well, it's the man in the bath, isn't it?
Yes, of course.
Of course, it's the man in the bath. He's the best one.
He's the absolute ultimate.
He's so funny. Yes.
Hanging on the thing.
Yeah, he's really good. Well, I think that's really interesting that everyone knows that it's going to be the end of the show, and there'll be people who've been watching it for 30 years, but they're still moved by it, and they want that to be the ending.
Yeah.
I think that's nicely done, and that really helps to drive you as you become one of the audience. As the audience watching the movie, you become one with them, that you're all together driving Truman to this one goal of actually escaping.
Yeah. And that's done really, really well by having the different people. You know, so here's loads of different people that you can relate to. So you are one of them, and it's bit by bit, bit more. It's really, really clever. Yeah.
I think it's really good. I like the poster for it. That's like almost like a sort of football fan park. It's like Times Square or something, and there's a massive screen and thousands of people watching it. I thought that's really good. We're all. What do you think of the? This is before Big Brother.
Yeah.
This is. This is people watch this and thought,
reality TV.
This is a good idea. Yeah, that's the really weird thing about it, is that people, is it prophetic, or did it cause it?
I mean, what sort of stuff did we have in '99? Not much reality TV, was there?
No.
There was another film that came out around the same time, wasn't there, with Matthew McConaughey in, called Ed TV.
Oh, I never saw that.
But that wasn't that. It's a completely different film, apart from the fact that there's a TV show about a guy in his real life, 24 hours a day. And I think he volunteers for it, and then and then he's on, and then the Ed show or whatever.
Is it any good? I mean, that's pre the McConaissance.
Yeah. The reconnaissance.
The reconnaissance. The McConaissance.
You didn't make that up, did you?
No. No, I'm not that clever. It's good, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It is really, really good.
It is good because he was in some rubbish and now he's been in some just unbelievable films.
Yeah. And it's nice. Oh, yeah, I guess it's grand that you get the chance.
Yeah.
You can make that choice, and it's like, I'm just going to be rich. I'm just going to do another rom-com with Jennifer Aniston about a cow from space. It's $3 million in the bank account.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah. And then he just thought,
right. I can act, by the way, guys.
Yeah. I'm going to do crazy stuff like nearly starve myself to death for this movie and stuff.
Yeah.
God, it's brilliant. Interstellar's brilliant. Dallas Buyers Club is so good.
True Detective as well.
True Detective was fantastic. It was a really good TV show. Yeah, he turned brilliant. Just turned brilliant, didn't he? Yeah, fantastic. Good lad.
Back to the room.
Yeah. Okay, I forget how we even got onto that. Oh yeah, you were talking. MTV's The Real World had happened.
Oh yes, that's right. Yeah.
But I mean, yeah, that's an odd one, isn't it? But yeah, it's. And I don't know.
Wasn't that more like Towie than Big Brother? Towie for.
I've never seen Towie.
Have you not? What they call is what do they call it? Structured reality.
Well, that's more like what the Truman Show is.
Yeah.
Because there's some of it's scripted and some of it isn't, and they create, and that's more like the Truman Show in that Big Brother is pure reality in that it's just a bunch of people, which is why it became so boring, and that's why the structured reality shows started doing better, and that's what it is with Truman. They create these situations to, one, maintain the status quo, and two, artificially generate drama in order to make the show interesting. But I think one of the things they bring up is that people just become close to Truman and they become hooked on it, not because of the dramatic parts, but just because, he says himself that people sleep with the Truman Show on. They're asleep and they've got the telly on and Truman's asleep on the telly. And it gives comfort to people and stuff. And I thought that kind of aspect of it was quite interesting as well.
Yeah, right. So the fact that they've spent so much time with him.
Yeah.
That's just reminded me of something really funny. Our mutual friend Adam. I remember him once saying to me that Adam and I both had, through our teenage years, both had terrible insomnia, and we watched a lot of films that were on late at night, and. In that time, it was around the 90s, there were a lot of Brian Dennehy films.
He was in every movie.
Yeah, he was in. He's made hundreds of films, I think. But basically, they're cheap films, cop films. Hard-boiled cop Brian Dennehy. And I remember Adam saying to me that he feels like he spent so much time with Brian Dennehy that he's more of a father figure to him. It's like more of a dad to him than his real dad.
Brian Brown as well, probably.
Yeah. Brian Brown.
Yeah. I think one of the reasons why this film is so successful in terms of engaging you emotionally and getting you into it is the soundtrack, which I just thought was absolutely out of this world. I just think it's completely brilliant, which is unsurprising given that it's Philip Glass, who's like a real composer, and and I don't mean to disparage people who make music for movies, because it's a different thing in itself, and it's very, very clever and difficult to do. I would imagine. I'm a musician, and I don't know how you do that, but Philip Glass is a real composer, and he's one of the biggest composers of the 20th century, and I mean, I think you kind of first hear it when you get the flashback to his father's death, and he starts playing like the sort of theme to that, and I just think it's brilliant. And I think the reason why it's so clever is because you know, when you get after the storm, and then you've got the calm, and it's just Truman going out at the very end scene. It's other people would crescendo it and make it bigger and bigger, and but there's no need to. It's just there's so much emotion in the music that it's cleverly done. It doesn't need to be cheap or use changing the key, like going up a tone in the key to gives the thing a sort of triumphant feel to it. You know, that's the point in Pop, is it still called Popeye? The X Factor, where people stand up off of their stool and the fireworks go off and everything and everything goes up a key. And he doesn't, you know, he doesn't need to do any of that cheap stuff. He doesn't need to bring a crescendo in. Nothing gets louder. It's just an incredible piece of music, and I think that bit where he's on the boat and he's done it. You know, there's that final bit where Christoph is testing him, and are you prepared to die for this? And he ties himself to the boat and he capsizes, and he's, you know, this close to death. And then he gets out, and the storms go away, and he knows that he's done it. And I think that anyone who would be found to be moved by that piece of cinema it's got to be deeply cynical, because I think that bit is just put together so nicely. And I get goosebumps when I watch it, you know, and I know it's you know, it's a big budget Hollywood movie, and I thought it's tremendously moving. I think that bit is just absolutely fantastic, a great bit of cinema.
I completely agree with you. The music part of it completely passed me by, of course.
But of course, that's part of it. You don't have to be aware of the music. It's not like the music didn't have its effect on you.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. But that's good, isn't it? Because the fact that I didn't notice it and you did means it was really good.
Yeah, I think probably. Yeah, I mean, I'm listening for it.
Yeah,
particularly. So, but yeah, and that's what great cinema is. You know, this idea that great cinema should be stripped back and it's about acting, and it's not. It's a bit of everything, and that's why these big Hollywood set pieces, I think that's what's important about cinema, is that it's an ensemble. You've got your music, you've got your cinematography, you've got your acting. All of these things come together to make. And the idea that somehow it's cheap because you're cheating using music instead of the performance. Well, you're using the performance of the musicians and the composer, and I think at that point. And then I love how it just... I love the way that it's lit, so that when the boat's coming up to the wall, you still kind of, because you're still focusing on the boat. I think that unless you know that's going to... I imagine the first time I saw that, I'm pretty convinced that the first time I saw that, I wasn't expecting it to be the wall at that point. Yeah. And then suddenly you see just the shadow sort of go up the wall from the prow. Is it the prow, the front of the boat? If it is, I'm feeling pretty good. And you just suddenly see the shadow of that against the wall, and then it hits the wall. And I thought that's lit really well. So you just get this 1 second of, wait, what? Bonk. I think that was really clever. And then you get the same thing with his hand as well, when he realizes that's a wall. And he kind of goes up to it, and he goes to put his hand against it, and before he touches it, a shadow sort of comes up against the wall and sort of confirms to you as the audience, yes, this is a wall, because obviously you can't feel. It's tangible to him, but it's not tangible to you as an audience member, because you're not experiencing his sense of touch. So putting that shadow there, I thought was really clever to give the wall solidity, to make it tangible, to make it feel like it's
And it
there.
zooms in as well, doesn't it? At the same time,
Yeah,
so then and then as it zooms in, you've got it comes more into focus, and you can see that it's painted, and you can see
yeah,
that it's dimpled and dappled, and it's got
yeah,
texture. And
yeah,
just
and
as he
it's
goes to touch it, they pull it out of soft focus into hard. So as it becomes hard in the focus.
yeah, and I like the way that it's rendered with cracks in and stuff, because who cares? Because no one's going to be seeing that. It will look fine from. So yeah, and that really gives it a tangibility as well. Yeah, which yeah, that wall. I mean, I think that's a really important part of it. This is the barrier between, and then it's, are you going to have a safe life? Are you going to make the decisions where you gamble on something? Do you go for the safe life, or to go for the? It's questions that we all have, whether we're.
And Truman gets to have them with God, essentially.
Yeah.
A disembodied voice. Ed Harris calling Truman.
Yeah, and he says, "I know you better than you know yourself," and then Truman says, "You never had a camera in my head."
Yeah,
That's great. That's a great line. I know it's a bit cheesy, and I don't know. I get goosebumps at that as well. I think it's great, and he delivers it excellently. That's the point where you start, when you can really think, well, actually, you've done really well doing drama instead of comedy. I think that he really performed really well at that. But that last scene really could have made or break. That last scene makes the movie, doesn't it? And he does it so well.
yeah,
Absolutely.
well, there's another really important. I'm going to say gimmick, but it's not gimmick, and a plot device, if you like, as we're going through, is the face, and then there's a big, there's a really nice release point where the face is seen, the completed face of the ripped out women is then seen on camera, and it's her face, and she sees it.
Yeah.
She gets up and starts running. That's enormously emotional. That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've barely even talked about that, but yeah, that's I like that aspect. I mean, that there is an element of cheese to that, this true love of your life, and he met her once, and I don't know, it's almost,
she embodies the motivation, really, doesn't she? She embodies the
motivation. I think so.
For him breaking out.
Yeah.
Whereas it's not really what it's about. It's not a rom-com. It's not like, oh, there was that girl that I had a dance with once in my high school prom. That's who I'm after. He's not after her, but she embodies the fact that he knows that something's wrong. He embodies that, the human struggle against reality, against the things that are imposed on us.
Yes.
That we are complicit in.
Yeah.
Because it's safe and easy.
Yes. I mean, I think that's anything else. I mean, I think that's mostly covered.
That's kind of the end point, I think.
Yeah, I mean, it's an excellent movie, and I think that really sums it up. I loved Paul Giamatti in it, even though he only had a small part. He's so brilliant.
Yeah.
He's so brilliant. The reluctant murderer putting on the weather and not really wanting to do it, and how far's Christoph going to go? And I like those scenes. I think he performs that really well. He's such a good actor. He's really good. It was nice to see him in that, and he does seem quite young in it. So. I guess that's probably it. And is there anything you'd like to say to sum it up, Crispin?
No, not really. I think the face thing was the summing up for me. I think if I start talking about it, I'm just going to talk about that again. So I'm not going to say anything.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. I like the way that just as we've been talking about the sort of overarching themes of the film more than actually how the film brings it in, but the series of mistakes that the production company makes and how they accumulate is quite nicely done, because it makes you start thinking, how did he I think one of the interesting things is how did he actually get past things like the guy with the coming out of the present when he's a little kid.
Yeah.
I'm on TV. It's all TV, and the parachutist, and and then the girl that he falls in love with, and her being kidnapped and taken to Fiji. How did he accept all of that? And I think that just shows you. I think that's a really good way of illustrating the lengths that we will go to protect ourselves and to protect the situation that we find ourselves in, if we find ourselves in somewhere that's nice and safe and comfortable, and how society does that. And that's really interesting as well. And then how all of those things, like the car radio describing his movements, really setting it off, and then it's just this snowball effect of one thing after another that's allowing. And I think that's done really nicely, because it makes you think, God, how did you not get that? But of course it's obvious to us. You accept the reality.
The thing is that because they're all so lazy with it, because he's not trying to escape. He's not trying to prove that it's wrong. He's it's completely normal for him. So that's why they're eating their sandwiches just around the corner from the lift, and that's why. And my absolute favourite bit of the whole film is, now I'm making my primary incision. Oh God. Like his voice delivering those lines is perfect.
Yeah,
really comical.
When they're and that's a similar thing to when they're like, "We're quick, chase him on the boat," and I love that. Like, you kind of feel like in any other movie they get in the boat and they chase him, but then they're like, "Hang on, we're all just actors. We can't just get in a boat and chase him. None of us know how to drive a boat."
I do the coach.
It's really nicely done, isn't it? Anyway, right, yeah, lovely.
Let's hang up on it, otherwise we're just going to talk about it for another hour.
I know, but I thought a very beautiful film. I was never sure whether I liked it and whether people took it seriously or not. But they do. You have to write essays about it at school.
Do you?
Yeah, it's part of it's part of the curriculum. It's
I imagine it would be, yeah.
That's why I stopped doing any research on it, because I didn't want to start spouting things that 15-year-olds were writing about it. I wanted to make sure that I just said what I thought about it. Whether that is better or worse than a 15-year-old, I don't know. But probably I like to think that I know a little bit more than a third of 15-year-olds.
Okay. On that
right.
weird fractional statistic.
Indeed.
I don't really know if that was self-deprecating or not.
I know. I got a bit lost in it. I think what I meant...
Mate, you've dug the hole.
It was meant to be self-deprecating.
Just leave the hole. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah, absolutely. So, maybe what we should talk about is how much we'd like to hear what our listeners thought of the film.
Yeah.
And how they could tell us.
Well, yes, they could. The easiest way, if you go to These.Are.The.Films.com, there's links to everything there. There's links to iTunes, links to SoundCloud and YouTube and Stitcher and Facebook and Twitter.
Rate us on iTunes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a help.
Yeah, we'd like that. And then we can make more of the community so that people can listen, and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. Film club. It's a film club.
It is a film club. Tell us what you reckon.
Let's get more people in. Yeah, lovely. So I guess all there is left to do then is to find out what film we'll be doing next time. So Crispin, can you reveal?
Yes, I am poised to reveal. And like you last time, I had forgotten to prepare. So just minutes before we started, I was going through, this one, not that one, and what I have settled on, I was going, maybe a new one, old one, new one, old one, new one, old one, new one, old one. It's Cool Hand Luke.
Oh man, that is such a good movie, and I am so looking forward to watching it because I haven't seen that in ages. That's a brilliant choice. Oh, that is fantastic! I'm really glad you've picked that film. Good. We haven't done one that old, so that's going to be really nice. And yeah, I might even get a bit of Newman's Own salad dressing to eat while I watch.
Boiled eggs. We just line up loads of boiled eggs and eat them as we go in.
Yeah, that's an excellent idea. Yeah, fantastic. Well, I'm really looking forward to doing that. I'm also going to pick a film with a bit more time, because we should probably pack this in and start being a bit more professional about the whole choosing a next film thing.
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, I don't mean to lecture you. I'm as guilty
7.
of it.
Is it 7?
Yeah, something along those lines.
Yeah.
Great. So, indeed. So if you've got any thoughts on that choice, please let us know, and tell us what you think of the film, and what we thought of this film and all that sort of thing. All the usual places, as we've already told you, and These.Are.The.Films.com, and we'll put up some links and the trailer and the video and stuff on the page dedicated to the Truman Show. So until next time, it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.
Froggy love Daddy.
Daddy love Froggy.